Okay, so for this, we're going to talk about how some people can be into the most expensive shit in the tacticool survival community world, and then eventually you come back around to being a born-again cheap ass and realizing that half of it doesn't matter if you don't know what you're doing with it.
And you know what? If you gear. I think honestly, okay, it's kind of like musicians, right? Okay, so you have Zakk Wylde or whoever your favorite guitarist is, and they can rip on their $10,000 Gibson or whatever but you know what? They could also rip twice as hard as you on a Hello Kitty first act, you know. And so...
And we've seen that on the internet. Like, that's a thing. Zakk Wylde still sounds like Zakk Wylde on the Hello Kitty Stratocaster.
Right. Okay, and so yeah, I think on this deal we forget when it comes to the gear, because there is just a disgusting this tacticool tier 1, you know, what's the big thing that's battle ready, battle tested, or
Cry
whatever,
precision,
whatever,
battle ready,
whatever that bullshit is.
We don't do Condor in this house.
Right,
we've got a Mayflower.
Right, the pores, yeah. Okay, well, here's the thing. Okay, I've worked at a machine shop in the quality department, okay, and you know, a lot of the cheap stuff that's no good and a lot of the expensive stuff that's way better is all made in the same place, on the same machinery, with the same material that's sourced from the same places and then checked in the same quality department with the same ball mics and the same CMM machines as the you know, there's really not nearly as much difference in it as the people that buy it want to feel like there is. And to top it off, again, the Indian is greater than the Arrow, so you know, some dude with zero has spent zero time watching tactical videos on YouTube, but has hunted his entire life, is probably, I would put my money on them that they are many standard deviations more deadly than the dude that bought all the the Magpul tactical training pistol or whatever, you know, and they've got really expensive shit, you know. They I've got dual
took
nods.
It to a range.
I've got dual nods, man. I own the night. Well, you know what? Maybe they had just went in their house for you to come through the door and blast your ass with an old 20 gauge Mossberg. And now they have dual nods, and now they can own the night.
Yeah, you know, you think you're going to pull a raid on someplace and they can see you on their little their Arlo freaking camera because they had a sensory light that turned on, and then their camera clicks on, and they can see some retard out in the yard with a set of fucking dual nods on, or whatever.
Right.
And imagine coming through the door and getting clapped by a 9-year-old with a freaking .22 rifle that you didn't see down a hallway.
Right.
You know, because Dad taught his son how to set up in case some shit was coming.
Right.
You know?
Well, and here's the thing, you know, it's hard for people to hear, but you know what? Now I've never owned a high point. I never plan on owning a high point. Maybe I shot a high point once, I don't know. But okay, here's the thing. If that's what you can afford and it it works and it goes bang when you pull the trigger and you can hit what you're aiming at, that's all that a $3,500 Nighthawk custom 1911 can do. That's all that it can do.
Yeah, and of course the longevity is going to be different. I don't expect the longevity of a high point to last, you know, to outlast a freaking Wilson Combat.
Sure, okay, but let's say a high point's worth 1,000 rounds. I don't know. Like I said, I've never had one, but how many dudes with Wilson Combats are shooting 1,000 rounds?
Most of them buy it and probably becomes a safe queen. You know, I mean, okay, when we were doing the whole MCM, Missouri Citizen Militia thing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there were people with all manner of expensive guns.
Oh, yeah.
And most of that shit didn't have a scratch on it, and they would have had a cow if they dropped it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, in any kind of any kind of training
because
session.
it's all just Christmas ornaments. That's all that it is. It's window dressing
with a nice And I'm not against leather stuff. I like leather stuff. I'm buying shit to do leather work for knives. I got friends that have leather work businesses, and I pimp their stuff, and I like
leather's
their stuff.
Cool, yeah.
But like, there's guys that they want to have the $1,200 or $2,500 gun, and then a $200 holster, and all this stuff, and it's just treated like it's precious.
Right.
And it's all about guarding it from any kind of mishap. But if your gun can't take some dirt and scratches, it's not a tool.
Right. Well, again, it comes down to just being window dressing. And an 8-year-old that has shot 10,000 BBs out of his pellet rifle is probably more proficient with it than the dude with the. And like I said, expensive shit's cool if you can afford it, I guess. And if it turns you on, that's all that really matters. If it gets your neck stiff, then fine, that's cool, but you don't need it, and that's the main thing. Dude, I've spent absurd money on guns, custom rifles, custom built stuff. Like I said, Jim Fuller's wife took my when I changed my rifle dynamics from I think it was a 702 to a 502. When I changed from 762 to 545 in the middle of my
build
order here, his wife was one. I mean, I've had stuff that you couldn't pick up now for $15,000. When I got it for a steal at $4,700 when I got it. I mean, I've had a lot of stupid stuff, but I personally, I mean, I don't know. I went the route, and I bought really expensive knives and shit like that, and that's cool, But honestly, every knife that I have, I don't know that I will actually get one more cut out of a Benchmade or ZT or whatever.
Right.
Honestly, than I will out of a Rat 1 with HCR 13 or whatever it's got in it,
or whatever.
One of the two. Yeah. I honestly don't know that I will get enough more wax out of the ZT. 702 carbon fiber, whatever the hell it is. I don't remember what it was. I gave that one away, but I don't know that I would get more wax out of that than I would the other one.
And I've got to say, I do a bit of gear querying on the knives, but I don't.
Sure.
As a working guy with a kid and a wife, I don't have the money to spend on, every new work tough gear that comes out or any of this stuff. And I've spent a lot of money on budget large choppers because it's what I like to do.
Well,
and my test isn't even about I don't even do specs in my videos. I take it out, I beat on it, I see if it's rolling, I put it through all the things that I would want a knife to do, whether it's a Temu chopper, and I've got pieces of shit from Temu, and I've got some pretty solid stuff.
Right.
And the difference is just taking it out, seeing what works, what holds up, and there's a lot of it that does. The damn K-bar clones that I've got one on my belt right now, and I've started my mower with it, arcing across the freaking solenoid because the solenoid got stuck. I've batoned with it, I've carved stuff with it, I've done all kinds of things with it, and I don't know that it's any more useful than if I'd have bought the BK-18 for over $100, and that's not ripping the BK-18, but I don't have the money to do that.
Right.
But what I can do as a cheap ass, a born again cheap ass, is just get what works and use it.
Okay, and here's what I think the point of the actual conversation is. It's not to bash, any specific quality or price range of things. But here's the thing: when like I quit being a part of any Facebook group when it come to any kind of guns or gear, man, years ago, and this is the crux of the entire conversation here, was if you have this ultra Rambo tier 1 stuff, you're ready for the apocalypse. If you have anything less than that, you're a dead man walking.
I won't even talk to you if you have a fucking Kel-Tec.
And that's bullshit.
And I remember the group that you're talking about, and it was the same people in there talking about, well, this Glock's got 43,000 rounds through it, blah blah blah. And it's like, first of all, I highly doubt that.
Right. And, man, I don't know that I could even keep a round count on stuff. And I have so many, I have kids. There's no way I'm spending that kind of money on ammo anyway. And honestly, I'm not sure what it really proves to me, to be really honest.
If I had the money, I would buy the cheapest quality ammo that I could afford to go to a class. That's what I want to do with handguns and rifle stuff, is eventually, especially if I get this, let's say, agriculture position that I am looking for. Yeah. I would like to have enough money to go to tactical response or go to one of John Lovell's classes or something cool like that and get some like real training. But I don't think that that's a deal breaker if you don't go get that shit. But you need to find somebody that knows what they're doing, that has been to some legit training and that type of thing. But that's what I would like to spend my money on, not a $2,500.
Well, like I said, and if you have the money and it makes your neck swell up like a buck in rut, then cool, man, have it, have it. But again, going back to the sentiment of, well, if it's not a Noveski, then you might as well just shoot yourself in the head with it because you're as good as dead anyway. If it's not a knight's armament, then you might as well just walk out there without even a shirt on to get shot to death, And that's the issue that I have, because like I said, I've had absurdly expensive stuff, and honestly, and I'm not beating up. Okay, I had a Daniel Defense M4A1, and it was great, and it worked perfectly fine. There was no mechanical issues with it, but like the hammer and trigger, where the hammer pin was slightly out of spec, and any trigger that went in there after the initial factory trigger, it had to be sanded on massage just a little bit so it didn't hang up on the bottom of the, and that's every one of them that went in there after that, and you're talking from Timney to whatever, CMC, Timney, whatever, they all had to have the same thing done. No matter how, and this was straight from the factory, if you look down the handguard on the inside, the barrel, was more off to one side than the other. Again, not a huge thing. I'm not trying to trash Daniel Defense. It was perfectly accurate, and it worked every time. But I also have an Anderson Palmetto Franken gun that I've got that has absolutely none of those issues.
Right.
So, and it's not to say Daniel Defense is no good, or Anderson Palmetto State Franken guns are the only ones to have. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I think that there's probably just as many. There is likely probably
there's lemons of all stripes.
Just as many factory defects on one as the other.
On the premium gun.
Only one of them gets way more grace than the other one, because one's really popular to shit on, and the other one, well, if you have spent $2,500 or whatever on your rifle, you damn sure don't want it to trash talk it, because you're part of the crew now.
Well, like the PSA that I've got, I haven't had a problem out of, and it's just a factory Freedom Rifle, PSA. The build,
dude,
that's
God bless. I hope I am rich enough one day that I could buy into that company. Why? Because I believe PSA is doing God's work, is what I think. They're putting out affordable stuff so that regular men and women who have several kids and can't afford a $5,000 rifle setup.
Yeah, dude, the comments are gonna, if this actually catches traction, the comments are gonna be like, they got a check from PSA.
Dude, hey, I'll take the PSA rifles. As a matter of fact, send me a 103K.
I'll take a case of ammo, or 2 or 3 cases of ammo if you're listening.
Yeah.
PSA, and I'm fine with a check or a free rifle. Just because I need it, not because I want to shill for anything.
I bought a Krebs AC-15 once, and it was down between, they had an AK-103 and an AC-15, and I bought the AC-15, which is one of the most accurate rifles short of a bolt action like precision rifle that I have ever had. That Krebs AC-15 was lights out, okay?
Right.
But after I bought that, I kind of wish I bought the 103K, but I didn't. And then went for years, couldn't even find one on Gunbroker, and now Palmetto State's making a 103K. Yeah, but it's not. I don't care. You know what? It'll do everything that I want it to do. I'm sorry. If Palmetto State is looking for people to shill for them, you can send me a 103K, and I'll gladly shoot it.
The truth sounds like hate when